Good morning. I'm Mrs. Smythe. I'm the art teacher at Machen Elementary, and today I'm going to show you how to create a patterned landscape. Now, first, we need to talk about what a landscape is. It's a picture that we've drawn or painted or created that is all about the land and the sky. It can have all kinds of things on it, like trees, flowers, houses, people, cars. The sky can have clouds and sun and birds and airplanes in it, but the biggest things on the page are the land and the sky. Now, we've been working on patterns for a long time. We all know that patterns are shapes and lines, anything that repeats itself over and over again in shape, line, and color. So let's get started. The first things you'll need are a pencil with a little bit of an eraser, a black crayon, and some more crayons to finish it when we're ready. If you don't have crayons and you have colored pencils or markers, that works well too. So let's get started. Bear in mind, I'm new at this technology, so I will be drawing out of your sight, but I will hold up the paper so that you can see what I've done. Okay, we're going to start with just a plain sheet of paper. The bigger the better, but size is not terribly important. We'll use what we can. All right. First thing I'm going to draw is our land. I'm going to draw 3 different hills on our land. And let's start with the first one. I'm going to start on the left-hand side of the paper, right about here in the middle of the edge. And I'm going to draw a curved line over to about the middle of the bottom. Let me do that. Now, as you can see, I've started on the left and I've gone over to the bottom about in the middle. Our next line, I'm going to start on the right-hand side and do another curved line over to our hill, not down at the bottom. We're going to have it connect, somewhere around here for our hill. When you reach the other hill, stop. Okay, our third hill is going to go between the two. We're just going to do a slightly curved line, not a big lump, but a slightly curved line between the 2 hills. Like that. And that helps to make that one look farther off in the distance. Now our hills are a little plain, so we're going to add some more to them. We're going to add 3 trees. I'm going to add 2 trees on my first hill and 1 tree on my second hill. I'm going to start with the tree trunks, which we always start with a rectangle. Make sure the bottom of the rectangle is down on top of our hill, not on the very top of the line, but on the hill itself. I'm going to draw those for us now. As you can see, I've already started with 2 on my first hill. And I'm going to put 1 over here on my second hill. There we go. Now, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video and catch up, and then push play to resume. Now, I'm going to put my tree tops on. Now, you can put 3 different tree tops for 3 different types of trees, or you can put the same top on each one. But whatever you do, make it large. Don't make it little bitty. As most of you who know me know, I don't like itty bitty. So I'm going to make what I call the curly tops. And you'll see in a moment what I mean. I'm using a curve and point line to create a top. See the curve and point, curve and point. And I'm going to continue to do those on these trees also. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be exactly correct or look exactly like mine. And if they run off the page, well, they run off the page. You'll notice mine has run off the page. Now, some of you may have noticed that our trees have a line through them from our hill. Now we want to, this is where our eraser comes in, because we want to erase just the line in our tree trunks that is the hill. So I'm going to go ahead and erase those. And don't worry if they don't erase very well, because by the time we put our patterns in here, it won't matter. See, I've erased the two from these two trees. Now it helps to make the trees look in front of the hill. I'm going to go back and erase this line also. And if you accidentally erase part of your tree trunk, go back and redraw it. Now, at this point, we have these two trees whose lines of the tree leaves or foliage overlap. And I want to make one look in front of the other. So I'm going to take the tree that's a little lower on the page and erase the lines from the other tree that are in it. So this line here, I'm going to erase. And it's going to help our tree that's lower on the page look in front of the other one. There we go. Now this tree looks in front of this tree. It's called overlapping. And it's another art skill we've learned. My sky looks a little empty, so I'm going to go ahead and put a big fluffy cloud in there. So I'm going to use again the curve and point and make a big fluffy cloud in my sky area. Now, if your cloud happens to bump into your tree, well, then erase the part of the cloud in your tree. Now, what we're going to do next is take our, let's add one more thing. Let's add a little bush at the bottom of this hill. And again, that's just a little curve and point. But it's going to make it look like we've got just a little bush down here in front of us. And it helps to make the trees look a little further back. Now our next step is to take our black crayon and outline or cover up all our pencil lines. So I am tracing over all my pencil lines. And if your pencil lines still show and you make a boo-boo and you don't quite cover it, don't worry about it. We will cover it up with our patterns that we are going to add to this. Okay, I'm going to stop when I finish this treetop and show you that I am indeed outlining or covering up with my black crayon all my pencil lines. So when it's finished, it will look something like this. Now we're ready to add our patterns to our landscape. When you think about adding patterns, remember what a pattern is. A pattern is lines and shapes, even letters of the alphabet, just about anything that repeats itself. So if you drew a single line, like a thick line, and then a polka dot, those aren't repeating. You'd have to go thick line, polka dot, thick line, polka dot, so that it keeps repeating, or circle, square, or hearts and stars, whatever you're choosing to do on your paper. Now, each one of these areas that we've drawn and outlined in our drawing is going to have a different pattern drawn in it. This is where our crayons come in. I've started one and done one of my hills with a checkerboard pattern. I'm going to take one of my treetops now and put a separate pattern in it. I'm going to use, you guessed it, my favorite line of curve and point in this treetop. Remember, curve, point, curve, point. You don't have to do all the ones I'm doing. You can be creative on your own and make up your own. These are just suggestions. So let me go ahead and get this started. Curve, point. And I'm going to connect them all together by connecting all the points together. Okay, I have it this far in green, but I think the green's just a little plain. So I'm going to go back and add red in between my green lines. Okay, gives it quite a distinctive look, doesn't it? I really like it. I'm going to continue adding patterns on my hills and my bush and my tree trunks, my cloud, and even my sky with all the colors of crayons or colored pencils or markers that I have. And when you're finished, it might look something like this. Look at all the patterns I've created. Each area has its own separate pattern. When you're finished with this, you might want to do something other than a landscape. You could do a shape of an animal. You could do something as simple as a flower. Fill your page with a stem and leaves and the center of the flower, and then some big loopy lines for the petals, and then fill in each area that you've outlined in black with a different pattern, and it might look like this. Very pretty. Well, I've hoped you enjoyed today's lesson and you've learned a little bit about landscapes and patterns and how to decorate them. Have a great day. See you next time.